Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to our UCLA Global Internship Program info session. This info session is dedicated exclusively for our virtual programs. It's a lot of great information that we hope to share with you. My name is Ana Arellano, and I'm the coordinator for the Global Internship Program here at the UCLA Study Abroad office. With us today, we have a very special guest. We have Kellen Townsend, who is the Senior Partnership Account Manager for Virtual Internships. Virtual Internships is a program provider that helps to secure the internship for you. So they're the ones with the connection. So Kellen will be here. I'm spending a little bit more in the presentation, sample internship placements and what that internship sample placement will look like in general, the application process. So thank you for joining us today, and we're going to go ahead and begin. So very quick agenda. We'll give an overview of our programs as well as the eligibility. We'll go over briefly about the placement process and the timeline, more about interning virtually as well as some past internship examples. And we'll conclude with some program funding options as well as a brief Q&A. If you have questions throughout the session, please feel free to enter them in the chat or the Q&A function, and we'll address them as in the order that they come in at the end of the presentation. So just a very brief overview of our virtual global internship program. The internship itself is over the course of 8 weeks, and this is June 24th through August 16th. The Global Internship Program in general is a 10-week program. While your internship is conducted over 8 weeks, you will be enrolling in an online course that is a duration of 10 weeks from June 24th through August 30th. This follows Summer Session 8 course. The reason that you have an online course is that these are academic credit internships. So you must enroll in an online course, conduct some coursework in order to receive credit for this internship on your academic record. So just to reiterate, your internship itself, your placement is for 8 weeks, and your online coursework is for 10 weeks total. This program guarantees all students 4 units, and that's that online course that you would be enrolling in. However, students have the option to earn up to an additional 4 units for a total of 8. I do want to make a quick note that students who are interested in enrolling or using the UCLA financial aid to cover the cost of the program must enroll in 8 units to be a full-time enrollee student to qualify for the financial aid. And I'll touch a little bit later on the slides on what type of courses these are, but just know that you students will earn 4 units and can earn up to 8 units on this program. Like I mentioned, these are academic credit only internships. These are not paid. And for our students interested in conducting these virtual internships, you can expect to intern anywhere from 20 to 30 hours per week. The eligibility criteria, we do have select academic tracks, which I'll review shortly. But in general, I would encourage you to review the program brochures. Most of our programs are open to all majors and minors, with the exception of our public affairs departments, as well as our, I'm trying to think of it, education. Education and public affairs would be open strictly to those majors and minors. There are no prerequisites to enter or to conduct a virtual internship. However, you must have a minimum 3.0 GPA and have 90 total units by the start of summer 2024 term. So by the end of spring. We do accept AP and transfer credits. So as long as you have this 90 accumulated on your record, you're good to go. Finally, students are required to have good academic standing, which generally means having a 2.0 term GPA until you depart. The coursework that students would be enrolling in, the mandatory course is the 195 internship course. Depending on the academic track that you pursue, this may be a 195C or 195CE. Similarly, depending on the academic track that you enroll in, this can or may not satisfy major or minor requirements. So I'd encourage you to view the individual program pages to see individually what that course could satisfy on your record. The CSC 130 course is our optional course for an additional 4 units, and this is an intercultural communication in the global workplace course. This is really meant to complement your internship course. We will be working with different cultures, with different supervisors, with different colleagues. So getting some tips on how to effectively communicate with your supervisor, how to communicate with your colleagues, how to make sure that your goals are both aligned, and so just perfecting that communication skills in that global workplace. Once again, each program brochure, this course would indicate whether or not it would satisfy major or minor requirements. As well, the program brochure would indicate whether these courses must be taken for a pass, no pass, or for a letter grade. So just encourage you to view that. Just once again, want to reiterate, the internship course is mandatory and the CSC 130 course is optional, with the exception for our financial aid students. So for our virtual programs, we have a couple of academic tracks. What this means is that we have partnerships with the UCLA departments. So we have partnerships with the UCLA Communication Department, Engineering Department, Global Affairs, Political Science, and Public Affairs. I do want to make a quick note that our Engineering Department, as well as Public Affairs, are for majors and minors only. Communication, Global Affairs, and Political Science are open to all majors or minors. So even though it's open to all majors and minors, they are catered toward these departments. However, if you're interested in marketing or PR, if you're interested in NGOs, nonprofits, for example, still welcome to apply, still encourage you to apply. It's a very good opportunity. I want to highlight some career sectors that are offered through virtual internships. And I want to make a quick note that these career sectors are not offered within each academic track. So I encourage you to view the program brochures within the academic track to see what sectors are within each academic track. We do offer advertising, marketing, PR, advocacy groups. We offer international business, law, NGOs, nonprofits, as well as social work. So like I mentioned, a lot of great opportunities. You want to check out our program pages to see where advocacy group is offered, as well as law, for example, just give you a good sense. And I know Kellen, during the slides, would dive into a little bit more about the career sector, as well as sample internship placements available to you. Our applications are now open, and they are open until November 27. I do want to highlight that this program is not first come, first serve. We do take the time to review your resume, to review your statement of purpose, and to take the time to discuss during your advising call your goals, your internships, your career sectors, as well as your professional goals, your interests. I want to make sure that you are aligned with a meaningful internship, something that helps you grow professionally as well as personally. But with that said, we do encourage you to submit your application sooner than later. Most students, or we do expect a high number of applicants on the very last day or the last week. What this means is that because if we do have a high number of applicants towards that last week, your advising call, which is the next step of submitting your application, can be pushed into your finals terms at UCLA. So we're really trying to avoid having that conflict. We want to make sure that you're able to focus on your finals, able to study, and it does not conflict. So the sooner you apply, the sooner, the better it is, and the sooner you have your advising call, which I again mentioned, is the next step in your application process. So I spoke a little bit briefly about the placement process, about the advising call. We have a very short video that's going to explain more thoroughly what to expect within this process. Just want to make sure I'm sharing my sound, and we're going to go ahead and push play.
The UCLA Global Internship Program. Placement process and timeline. The Global Internship Program offers UCLA students the opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the job market with an 8-week international summer internship. Students receive direct UCLA credit and secure an internship based on their academic, professional, and personal goals. After an application is submitted, the student will interview with our program partners in the host country to assess their qualifications, experience, goals, and discuss possible internship placements. In January, after an extensive review, students are notified of their application status. If accepted, they must submit a non-refundable $300 deposit to secure their spot on the program. In February, students must pay the full program fee or submit a financial aid agreement form. This payment is used to finalize and secure all program logistics, such as housing. This is also the last chance to withdraw from the program without any additional financial penalty. Starting in April and moving into early June, the internship placement process will occur. Our program partners will arrange interviews with local organizations and companies based on each student's individual goals. Students will interview with one host company at a time. Ongoing interviews will continue with prospective internship site managers until there is a match between both the student and the host company. We guarantee all students an international internship placement. Visit ieo.ucla.edu/globalinternships to view our programs, dates and deadlines, funding resources, and more.
Perfect. So that did it in a much quicker and a much better way than I would have explained it. But in a very quick summary, you would submit your application. You would then have your advising call with our program partners. In this case, it would be with virtual internships. And then your application decision would be released in mid-January. Following that, we start securing housing, or I'm sorry, not housing, start securing all the logistics for this program, as well as start with the placement process, interviewing with the respective companies. So with that, I also want to share that we do have some sample internship placements that previous UCLA students have participated in, as well as previous virtual internship participants. So what this means is on each program brochure, we have a specific tab called sample internship placements. And within there, we have a PDF handbook where you can view companies, we can have specific responsibilities that students have held previously. If this is something that you're interested in, for example, let's say you see Light Up Impact and you say, I love their mission, I love what the student previously worked on, I want to conduct possibly an internship with this company or within this sector. Include that in your statement of purpose in your application. Let us know what interests you. The more you explain your statement of purpose, the more helpful it is for our partners, so for virtual internships, to secure that internship for you or see what could be available within that factor. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Kellen to explain more about virtual internships.
Perfect. Thank you, Anna. So yeah, let me see. Perfect. So I've already introduced myself. My name is Kellen Townsend, and I'm a senior partnership account manager with Virtual Internships. So I'm super excited to be talking to you all today. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Okay, great. So really, what is a virtual internship? So virtual internship is a work experience. So you will gain experience. You'll work in a professional setting, but you're just not going to be physically present at the job location. You're still able to work for an international company. You're still able to get great networking. Excuse me. You're still able to get networking, career field skills, technical skills, all the great things that you would normally gain in a typical internship. You will just be doing this remotely. Okay, sorry, I think there's a little bit of a lag. So why complete a virtual internship? So the ICIM class of 2020 report noted that recruiting professionals agreed that past work experience was the #1 important thing that they look at when hiring entry-level applicants. So one of the things that we do is we guarantee placement in your first career field of choice. So going through a program, you're able to kind of secure that internship in the career field that you're looking for to show future employers that you've had that experience. Okay, the next is the placement guarantee. So one of the things that we do is that we guarantee internships. We've hosted over 10,000 interns who successfully completed a remote internship with Virtual Internships. This is a quote from a past UCLA student, and they said, "Virtual Internships is such an amazing program. They placed me with a host company that exceeded my expectations and helped me to gain transferable skills. After the program, I felt more confident and prepared to enter the professional world." So we worked with UCLA for many years. We worked with college students, remote learners all over the world. And so we've really kind of taken time to develop a program that we think really works for our students and for our host companies. A little bit more about our program support. And so we don't just do a placement. Your internship placement is part of the program, but we also have some curated support for you. So one of those is a dedicated internship experience manager. So you'll have a staff person from Virtual Internship separate from your host company. That's kind of your go-to person. Any questions that you have, concerns that you have, if you have some questions about the work that you're doing, if you're struggling to set up a schedule with your host company supervisor, if you want, practice talking to your host company supervisor and, asking about how to take initiative, or, you're working in marketing research, but you really want to do like marketing design. We're here to kind of help you guide through all those different situations. And so we're really here to support you and make sure that you're getting the most out of your experience. Separate from your internship experience manager, you'll also be assigned an internship coach, and you'll get 2 professional development coaching calls with one of our trained employability staff. So this is just a really great way for you to kind of get more professional development. These coaching calls are really designed around you. You kind of get to pick what you want to talk about. You can do LinkedIn, you can talk about networking, you can talk about working internationally, you can kind of talk about your next steps, how to get the most out of your internship. It's really up to you, but this is just kind of a time for you to get what you need and to kind of take those next steps in your professional development. We have weekly group discussions with our virtual interns all over the world. And so we work with universities all over the US, South America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East. And so you'll get put in group chats with students from all over the world. And we also have business webinars every other week where we bring in people to kind of come in and talk about different topics in the business world. So we had one of the founders of Netflix come in and talk about innovation. We had a news reporter come in and talk about virtual communication. We've had people who have started their own businesses or NGOs kind of come in and talk about that process. So those are just kind of some bonus extras that you get as a part of the program. They're not mandatory, so you don't have to partake in them if you don't want to, but just know that they're there for additional support. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about what it looks like, right, to work remotely across time zones and all of that. So we do work with host companies all over the world. We have host companies in over 70 different countries. So there's lots of different kind of time zones that you could be working with. And so just to give you more of an idea, your internship, that 20 to 30 hours a week, is really going to be broken down into synchronous work. So that's where you're one-on-one online with your host company and with your supervisor. We do require that you supervisors meet with you face-to-face at least once a week. So that will be synchronous communication. You may also have other synchronous work where you need to be logged on at the same time as your colleagues, working on different projects. You may be sitting in on business meetings. There may be other things that you do synchronously. So if you're working like 20 hours a week, you might have 5 hours a week that's synchronous, that you need to be online at a certain time. The other 15 hours that week would be what's called asynchronous work. So, during that hour one-on-one meeting with your supervisor, they're going to assign you different projects, and then you will go on your own time and work on those projects. So if you want to do it like Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Sunday afternoon, it's really kind of up to you. And when you want to do that asynchronous work, you'll just want to make sure that you communicate clearly with your supervisor, you know your deadlines, and you're getting your work completed on time. If you do have to amend your weekly hours, like things pop up, things happen, that happens sometimes. So you'll just want to, communicate with us, and we'll help you communicate with UCLA or anything like that if that's warranted. But just, if like one week you need to work 18 hours and then next week you work 22, from our perspective, that's okay. Once again, we know things happen, but we really do recommend that you stick as closely as you can to that 20 or 30 hours per week, because that's just going to really help you kind of set a schedule for your internship. But you do have some flexibility within that 20 hours a week of how they're scheduled. We don't create a schedule for you. We let you and your host company supervisor determine a schedule that works for both of you. So if you're taking other classes or if you're working a job or things like that, we can help you schedule around that. So we do have 18 different career fields to choose from, and make sure you take time to read the UCLA kind of brochures, and depending on your major and track, that will kind of align with the career field that you want to choose. So for example, if you're in engineering, you'll probably want to choose engineering or computer science and IT. If you're global affairs, we recommend that you do international development, NGO and charity, potentially legal if you're interested in law. If you're a communications major, we have things like marketing, media communications and publishing, creative design and fashion, business, all different types. We do guarantee placement in the first career field of choice. So for example, if you pick entrepreneurship and startup, we guarantee a placement in this career field. If you decide you want to do legal, we will guarantee you a placement within legal. So just kind of spend some time like reading over the sample placements, reading over your kind of department guidelines, all the UCLA information, and then that will kind of give you a good idea of the career field that you're interested in. If you have a few that you can't decide between, that's definitely something you can talk about on your advising call with one of our staff members. Oh, okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about placement locations. So we do have host companies all over the world, and you'll get to select your top 3 preferences of choice. We don't necessarily guarantee like a specific country, but you'll get to give us your preferences. So you can say like, hey, I'm really interested in Europe. Or even within Europe, you could get specific and say like, I'm really interested in Spain, France, or Germany, or things like that. And that will kind of guide how we look for your placement. We will focus on your career field first, with location second, but we do really try to keep that in mind. One thing to know about our host company is that the majority of them are going to fall into startups and SMEs, so 100 employees or less. So it's not a lot of like really big corporations. We do have some. We do have some like bigger law firms and some bigger businesses and things. But these are going to be smaller companies. From our perspective, it's really great because 70% of our students actually work with a founder or a C-suite member directly as their host company supervisor. So it's a really kind of great way to get like exposure to upper level management. It's going to ensure that you're doing really meaningful project-based work that actually contributes to the ongoing business of the host company. You're not going to be given business work. With less employees, you really get more responsibility. You get kind of more face time with upper level management. And so we really feel like it works to your benefit. But just know it may not be like a brand name company that you've specifically like heard about, but it's a really great way to put some really meaningful project-based work on your resume. And then now I'm going to go over some example projects, kind of just to give you a little bit of an idea of the types of companies that we work for, that you could be working for. So the first example is called Production House Asia. It's a company in Thailand. They are a marketing company. They do social media management, marketing consulting, and media production. And they are looking for a marketing intern. Just want you to know this is a very concise summary of the projects that you'll be working on. And if you commit to the program, we guarantee you a project placement plan with at least 5 projects on it. So you will have 5 meaningful projects to be working on. I've just taken 2 here and shortened them down just to kind of give you an overview. But some things that you might be doing would be publishing stories for their local digital project. These do new stories every day. And so you'll write these different stories, you'll edit them, you'll use different like AI tools to kind of help you write and review information. You'll also help with social media support. So you'll create and schedule content, you'll respond to their messages and things like that online, as well as analyze different metrics from their social media and website and things like that, and recommend improvements or recommend ways to increase engagement. This is another example of a project placement plan. This is for our career field of media and communications. This is for a kind of luxury travel company that's located in Hong Kong. So they go and kind of do a different website about luxury resorts and hotels. So they're looking for someone who can conduct in-depth research and propose 5 different articles on a weekly basis. Once those articles are selected, you will fact check the article, write the article, and make sure you publish it. You'll support their copywriting, content creation, do different platforms like articles, product descriptions, emails, banners, newsletters, white papers, and different social media platforms. This is an example of a legal internship. So Light Up Impact is based in Austria, but they actually do a lot of their work in Africa. So it's kind of a double international placement. But they are a kind of unique community of over 100 plus early stage grassroots organizations in East Africa. And so they are looking for a legal intern to help support policy drafting for their nonprofit organization. So they need someone to draft policies for things like gender, non-discrimination, child protection, financial management, board management, all of that. They'll also need to help setting up a new NGO in Kenya. So they might require you to research different documentation online, create a workflow and digital toolkit to help them set up their NGO. This other example is for international development NGO and charity. This is for an organization called Lynn Center for Community Development in Vietnam. They are looking for a program intern. So they are an NGO that helps to alleviate poverty and bring sustainable development to regions of Vietnam. So they need someone to assist with their database management of donors, volunteers, create templates, do their data management. They also need help with grant writing. So they're looking for someone who can help assist their research team with identifying suitable grants that they can apply for, and to kind of coordinate that production of the grant, from writing, timelines, all of that. They need someone to project management. They also need someone to do program development and coordinate with their on-the-ground volunteers to plan different community events for fundraising, as well as different citizen engagement. Unaligned. This is actually a placement that UCLA students have interned before, and they really liked it. This is for an NGO based out of Finland, and they are looking for an international development intern. So Unaligned is basically an organization that kind of wants to create a different or new UN. They've kind of got some of their own ideas about shared humanity and having like a shared planet and what that should look like. So they need someone to write regular articles on various topics such as the environment, animal welfare, human rights, for their magazine, which is their monthly publication. They need someone to help with networking. So this role will take many forms, such as contacting like-minded organizations, NGOs, inviting them to collaborate, or kind of how can we work together on different projects. Also, you will get to pick your own project, which is really exciting. So after you've been there a couple weeks, and you've kind of determined where your interests lay, you're given free reign to create your own project based on your own interest, and they will work with you to set that up. And students have really enjoyed that. I think that's one of the other great things about a remote internship is kind of like the flexibility and being able to create your own projects. The next one is for engineering, and this is a company called Power Up Fuel Cells that's based in Estonia. So they produce in-class hydrogen fuel cell-based electric generators. I don't know what that is, but it sounds really awesome. So they are looking for someone who can create their own generator design using CAD modeling, and then being able to kind of retrofit that to their older project designs. They'll also need someone to improve the existing generator design, while also keeping in mind that this is a business, not just a class project. So it has to be manufactured, it has to be utilized and be able to be taken to market. They also need someone to propose future development ideas based on the company goals of cleaner energy, pollution reduction, maintenance, and improving modern technology. So as you can see, a lot of these internships do allow you to kind of create your own projects, which I think is really exciting. The next one is for a technical engineering intern for a company called ClickMock Solutions in Canada. So they do LiDAR scanning, robotics, and geotechnical monitoring. And they are looking for an intern who can design a water and dust-proof quadcopter for high altitude regions. This project involves mechanical design of a quadcopter for use in high altitude areas, and they'll give you kind of different parameters that'll need to be built with it. You will work under the supervisor to perform different system simulations. This part will require you to learn the basics of robotic operating system and using Gazebo on Ubuntu platform. I'm guessing those are some engineering things that I am not totally familiar with, but it sounds really great. We've had a lot of interns who are placed here, and all of them have really enjoyed the experience. So I just kind of want to give you a quick overview of some of the types of placements that you could do as part of your virtual internship and kind of get an idea what virtual work looks like. And so I'm going to pass it back over and let Anna take it from there to talk about funding and other UCLA information.
And thank you, Kellen. So program funding options, there are different costs depending if you enroll in the 4-unit or the 8-unit program. So like I mentioned, the internship itself is 8 weeks. If students enroll in the 4-unit program, you can expect your total estimated cost to be $2,172. And for an 8-unit program, the total cost is estimated to be $3,288. For our students who are UCLA eligible for financial aid, your financial aid can cover up to the total cost of the program. How much you accept in aid determines how much you would pay out of pocket. But in order to receive your financial aid, you must submit FAFSA or the DREAM Act for the 2024-2025 school year. As well as your global internship application, it's going to ask you if you intend to use financial aid. Please indicate yes or no as appropriately. If you indicate yes, this will prompt further documents at a later time in your application process. If you indicate no, it will not give you additional forms, and we cannot go back and change that response to obtain those additional forms. So just make sure you indicate yes or no as appropriately. And just a brief reminder that in order to receive financial aid, students must enroll in both courses for a total of 8 units. And there's a lot of free money out there that I strongly encourage you to apply for scholarships if you are able to. In and of itself, our office offers the IEO Global Internship Scholarship, where students can earn up to $3,000, depending on the program, on the academic track you're enrolling in. For example, if you have the 185 CE course, there is a scholarship that students can earn up to $5,000. On our website, we also indicate external or federal options for scholarships, including the Gilman if you're a Pell Grant recipient. Strongly encourage you to consider applying to that program. If you have any questions about scholarships or what is out there, what is eligibility or the process look like, feel free to send us an email, connect with our office. Happy to point you in the direct directions. As scholarships are, like I mentioned, are a great way to help chip away at the cost of our program. And it's free money, so you do not need to return that money. It's just a very great opportunity. Strongly encourage you to apply as many if you are eligible and are able to. Last thing I want to promote is we do have some global internship ambassadors. If you're interested in receiving some tips on how to apply, on how to do the advising call, how to interview with the respective host companies, you want to know more about a respective company and their past experience, feel free to connect with them directly. We do have a GIP student ambassador page located on our global internship program page. So like I mentioned, speak with them, learn more about their experience, read more about their quotes, more in depth about their internship company or roles. Very great opportunity to speak more with students and just get more personalized feedback. And with that said, that does conclude our presentation. If you are interested in the communication tracks, global affairs, political science, or any tracks that we do not have available within here, for example, psychology, feel free to send me an email. I do advise for all UCLA majors. Andrew oversees our engineering and public affairs tracks. So if you're interested in those tracks, feel free to connect with Andrew directly as well. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I really hope you found this helpful, and I really hope you are interested in our virtual internships. Like Helen mentioned, this is a very great opportunity to join the hybrid world that we all are living in now. This really gets your feet in the door, kind of get that experience of what will the workplace look like now. So it's a very great opportunity. If you have any questions, like I mentioned, feel free to connect with us. I'm going to stop the recording now, but if you're here, you want to answer some questions, enter them in the chat, feel free to unmute yourself and we'll address those as well.